Hello, this is Sandy with Sandy's Crafty Creations. I'm going to show you real quick in this tutorial video how to make this little toilet paper tube mini album that I showcased a few days ago on my blog. And I'm going to show you how to assemble this and then just show you the base part of it, and then you can decorate the way you want to. So first of all, you need 7 toilet paper tubes that are empty. And to get them real flat like this, I use my Big Shot. So you flatten it down and put it in the Big Shot between 2 plates, mats and plates. You just may have to fool around with yours to see which one works the best with yours. This is the sandwich that I'm using on mine. This is a Genesis magnetic plate and a mat on top of it. And I run it through a couple of times. Sorry if this is wiggling a lot. It just kind of shakes the table. And then that flattens them out pretty good for you. So that's how you want them flattened out. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these real quick, and then I'll be back in just a second. So the next thing that you do is take one of the toilet paper tubes and cut it down to 2 inches wide. You want the fold at the top and the bottom, so you want it 2 inches wide this way. This is going to be our spine piece. And then take some kind of paint, stain, or ink. I'm using Distress Stain in the Black Soot, and I'm just going to stain all the edges where it will not be covered up by paper. So you stain that right quick, front and back. On the spine piece, you only have to do it one piece, one side, but everything else. And then you also want to do the ends like that, and then just let it dry. So my other album I used white, and on this one I'm using the black. See, on the spine piece I'm just doing it at the top and the bottom on the folds, because the rest of it will be hidden. So we're going to continue doing that, and then I'll come back in a little bit. While these are drying, I want to tell you to make sure that you line them up and make sure they're all the same length, because if you use different brands of toilet paper, they may be different, and they may even be different within the same one. All of these are from Charmin. I really do use Charmin all the time, and they're all the same, even though the colors can be a little bit different. Their lengths are the same, so that's real important to check that. I thought I would tell you that while these are drying. They're still just a little bit damp, so I'm going to let them dry a little longer. Okay, one other thing I did while my toilet paper tubes were drying is I went ahead and cut 4 little hinges. These are 2.5 inches long by 1 inch wide, and score them at the 1/2 inch mark. For these little albums, you can use any type of hinge that you like. The Kathy Orta Hidden Hinge, or Laura Dennison's Stack the Deck, and there may be other kind. I'm just going to do these little individual hinges. So you fold along the score line, fold them in half. And I just picked up some scrap of craft paper that I had, and that's what I'm using for my hinges. So I have my hinges ready for my pages. And I picked 2 of these that are the same color. These were a little different color. They're the same size. These are going to be the covers. So you need to take your glue and apply glue to the inside. I just kind of squirt it down in there. Make sure some is up here on the edge, close to the edge, and anywhere underneath where that roll comes together. And we're gluing 2 of these together to form the cover. So burnish that, make sure it sticks down. You want it to dry. And this will become the cover piece. And do the same with the other. Now you could use chipboard for that, but I just figured a lot of you may not have cutters strong enough to cut chipboard, or you might not have the medium weight chipboard on hand. So I just wanted to show you that you can make these out of the toilet paper tubes. And that's what I did on my little Christmas one. I'll just glue that down, burnish it, make sure it sticks together. So that will become, when it dries, our front and back cover. And then go ahead and take the little 2-inch piece that you cut so that it's got the fold at the top and the bottom. Glue this together as well to form the spine section piece. And once these dry, then we're going to assemble the cover. I've cut a piece of Tyvek, which is the Priority Mail envelope material that you can cut out of a used Priority envelope, or you can pick up a package of these envelopes at the office supply. And I'm going to take the glue and apply glue to one side of my spine piece. And I'm just going to glue it right in the center. Equal amount, center it side to side, and then turn that over and let it burnish in and let it dry. You could use score tape if you wanted to on this step. I'm just using glue to do it real quick. Now the covers are going to attach to each side. So I'm going to add some glue to the rest of the Tyvek side on each flap. And you want to leave a little bit of spacing, about a little less than 1/4 of an inch space, and make sure these line up. And turn it around and do the other side. And again, this is where you could use score tape if you would rather use score tape. That would be fine. Line these up and let that dry. And then that will fold up and be your cover for your little mini album. And then we will add we will cover the paper on the outside and the inside, and then we will add the little pages. Before I attach the papers, the pattern papers, I need to go ahead and ink this Tyvek. I probably should have made it just a little bit smaller, but I'm just going to ink it with black along the edge, top and bottom. And then also along that fold on each side, especially at the top where it's going to show. And I'm going to let this dry. I may need to put some more on it because it's white underneath. It's not going to be as dark. So I may have to use a Sharpie or something to make it darker. The other one I used the lighter color, so it turned out okay for that. Let me see here. Yeah, I think I'm going to, along the edge, hit it with a Sharpie, the Tyvek, along the whole length here. You don't have to do it as wide because the paper is going to cover most of it. So right along the top here, and then along this spine here. I'm going to let that dry, and then I will measure and cut my papers. Okay, so I'm ready to put the papers down. I'm using little scraps of paper that I have. For the front and back cover, I'm going to use, I think, the candy cane stripe. And so these measure 3.5 by 2.5. And then the piece for the spine is 2.5 by 4. So let's put the cover ones on first. So I'm just going to use glue. Oops, wrong one. That won't hurt. That's Glossy Accents, or rather 3D lacquer. Got the wrong bottle. But it'll still glue down. Just costs more than glue, so I'm using the white Scotch quick dry glue. And then lay that down. Make sure I'm in the camera. And line it up from the outer edge and the top and bottom edge. So it's not going to go all the way across towards the spine. And then just use your hands to burnish that down. Okay, I've got a little bit of sticky on me. I don't want it on there. And then the other side. And this is the spine piece, so we're going to center it. And I'm just eyeballing it, centering it side to side. About right there. Oops. And then fold it and make sure you burnish that so that it sticks down good. And there you have your little outside of your album. And then next we'll work on the inside here. Turn it over. And then the top and bottom of this tie back in there in this space, just on the top edge a little bit. You need to go ahead and color that with a black marker or whatever color ink stain you're using on your little covers, so that it won't show, the white won't show unless you're wanting white. So make sure I get this right in here. Okay, and then I cut the inside covers are 3.5 by 2.5. I've got 2 of those, and then for the spine piece I have 2.5 by 4. So we're going to glue those in. Let's do the covers first. And again, these are just scraps of paper that I had left over from a bigger project. And put it out to the outer edge here. Kind of make it even top and bottom. Burnish that with your hands. And then the other side. And this last piece goes in here. Now I'm going to put some glue down in this little fold here onto the tie back here so that it glues down into that. And then glue over the whole part. Again, you could use score tape if you prefer. And then I'm going to take my bone folder and gently burnish down into that little fold where that glue is, where it can dry. Because we want this to be able to fold up just like that. And there we have our little cover ready. Got a little bit of ink on that for our pages. Next, we're ready to attach our hinges. So I'm going to take one of the hinges that I've folded up, and I'm going to apply glue. And you can also use score tape if you want to. And I'm going to put glue on both sides to make it real strong. And then I'm just going to slide this into one opening of one of the tubes and push the tube up to the score line. Not over it, but just up to it. Get it in straight and then burnish it so that it glues down. So this creates a hinge for in your album, and do that to all 4 of the remaining tubes. I have some 3/8 inch Miracle tape, which is similar to score tape. I ran out of my 3/8 inch score tape, so I'm going to use this. You can use it with a combination of glue to just one side of the flap. You apply the tape. I've decided to use this instead of just glue because I think it'll be easier to show you to quickly get it into the book without having to hold it. So I'm attaching it to just one side of the flap. And then burnish it, each one, to make sure the tape sticks down. So I'm not too sure about how the Miracle tape holds. There's a lot who say that it holds just as well as the score tape, but I am going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue just because I want to make sure. So peel the tape backing off, and then I'm going to apply a little bit of glue. And this first one we're going to start at the back, and I'm going to put it in between the folds of the spine so that I'm attaching it just inside of the hinged fold line onto the spine paper. Now I know that this shows the craft, but we're going to fix that later. And then we're going to put the front one on. This is a little bit different, and keep in mind that toilet paper tubes can be a little off, so these little albums are not going to be totally square perfect. They're going to be close, not going to be real bad, but just keep that in mind that it is toilet paper tubes, so it may not be totally perfect. This one's going in the same way. We're going to put it in along the album fold line. Put it in as straight as you can. Okay. All right, and then we have 2 more. Now I want a space here, here, let me see here. Okay, too much space here. Put it this way. So this one we're going to turn. So we keep the 1/2 inch. We're going to put this one in along that other 1/2 inch. And burnish that in, and always burnish in when you attach these. Okay, and then the last one's going to fit right in there. So this does leave quite a bit of gap. but it leaves you lots of room to add in a half page or do other different things. So I'm going to peel this off. I'm going to stick this one down right here. I think I should have done the other one the other direction. So we have that, that, and that. This would have been, let's see if I can pull this up. So I did make a boo-boo here. Could use some undo, but I think I can get it up because it's not going to really show once it's under there. So I'm going to add some more glue and turn this around, because this should be just a ½ inch there. So we have more of a space here, and I'm going to be covering that with paper, and I'll show you how to do that. So that we have the ½ inch gussets between all 4 pages, and then the back. And this one also has a ½ inch. So that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, one other thing. Made this way, the covers and the pages are the exact same length. Now in my other one, I actually used different tubes that were longer for these front ones. You can either leave this away where it's even, or you can trim these off just a little bit if you want them just a little bit shorter. So I think I'm maybe going to trim mine just a little bit shorter. I'm going to use my trimmer. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I held my cover back and stuck each page into the trimmer and just trimmed a tiny bit off. It just made it a little bit shorter to make sure it doesn't stick out beyond the cover on this one. So that's something you should do prior to attaching your pages in, is checking them to make sure how they fit in with the cover of your little book. Okay, sorry, excuse me. So now you're ready to paper your pages. And see, make sure these are straightened out pretty good. And again, I'm going to use different scraps, and then I'm also going to use scraps to cover these little sections in between here, like that. Okay, so I'm going to cut my papers and I'll be back. Okay, so I have my papers cut to cover my pages, and each one measures 2 3/8 by 3 1/2 for the pages. And then I also cut these ½ inch by 2 1/2 inch strips to go between the pages and the gussets. So I'm going to use glue, and I'm going to go real quickly on these, and I'll probably speed up this section of the video. So now we have the papers on, and here in the gussets where it's the craft paper, I should have used black, but I didn't have any scraps of black handy, so I just used the craft. I'm just taking a black Sharpie pen and kind of just coloring along that where the paper may not cover. And anywhere you have where there's a bit of white or craft showing that you don't want to show, just take a Sharpie pen. This one's running out almost. and just kind of hit that in there to fill that in, and it does not show and it's permanent. I may have to go get me a different pen here. Like that. And then I've already done it here where I've messed up the paper because I'm going to cover that up also. Okay, so now we're ready. I have cut these pretty little strips. You don't need one on the front, but you can cover that little space in there if it's showing with the Sharpie pen. Open this up. So a 1/2 inch should fit just fine in there, and I just take some glue, and on the back side, add some glue. Okay, whoops. And just slip that in between and burnish that down in there. Between each page. You can use different colors or the same, whichever you want. Different patterns, different colors of the same collection. It's just using up your little bits of scraps that you have. And I just glue that in there. I've got a place here I need to color a little bit more. These dotted ones are a little bit skinnier than the chevron, so I'm using most of these here in the centers. That one's a little short, so I've got a little coloring to do right here. And then the last one is covering this one up where I had glued it down, so I can either put that in there, or I think I'll just go ahead and finish with the dot to have a little contrast there. And make sure on this one that you push it in far enough towards the page so that it's not going over that little fold. So you want it in there enough. Where that fold folds up like that. Okay, now it's all patterned and ready for you to decorate. Little toilet paper, and where I've cut mine, I'm going to probably ink the ends again because I want that black. And turn off the camera and add some little decorating to mine, little pockets and different things. You just go ahead and use your own imagination, create these pages, add stickers, mats, little booklets, little pockets, whatever you want, and finish up your little book. Okay, so I'm back now. I have finished decorating my second little toilet paper tube mini album. And I used left scrap papers from the Pebbles and maybe some Doodlebug papers in here for the pages and the tags. And I used stickers from Pebbles from this year, and then I also used some elements from Bo Bunny that I had left over from last year, like the Santa and the Ho-Ho. Now here on the cover, I put down a wreath circle by Pebbles, and then I added the Santa face, and then the Ho-Ho I glued on, and then I added a 3D crystal lacquer to make them shiny. And then I added this little envelope to the North Pole. And on the back, I used some of the Bo Bunny banners and a little Merry Christmas tag, and then tied on a little twine bow. The twine is from Pebbles, or it's from Doodlebugs. Then on the inside, I added one of my snowflake, glitter stickers. And then I made a little pocket out of the December from Bo Bunny, and added a little, the elf is in. It just slides in, so you could put a picture on the back if you wanted to. And then in each little pocket, I cut a tag, and these are about 2 inches wide by 3.5 inches long. Keep getting off camera here, so I apologize about that. I need to watch what I'm doing. And then I use the angle punch at the top and a 3/8 corner rounder on the bottom, and these just slide in each little toilet paper tube pocket. This page I left for a photo, And then I used one of the tags from Bo Bunny from last year, and it says Merry Christmas, no peeking, and I folded it on one end and trimmed it just a little bit to fit. So this makes a little flap, and then I have a banner that will hold a photo, or you can mount a photo onto the page. This is just a little tag to show you that you can do that. And flip this one. I used a little piece of the I think it was cardstock or chipboard, cardstock stickers, I think, from Bo Bunny, and just glued it on one end so that you can make a little pocket. And this little booklet is just folded in half, corner rounded it, and that sticks in there. And then the elf was here. It's just a little added element that I stick in there. And then on this page, I attached it at the top, added some of the banners underneath, and so you can just slide a photo and mats and things underneath that. And this one I just attached on the bottom, so this will slide in at the top. And on this page I took the antlers from the Bo Bunny set and I attached them, and then I applied the 3D lacquer on the front and the back to make them real sturdy. They're more like a plastic piece now. And then I added a bird sticker and some holly and the snowflake. And I just made this a decorative piece here. And when you close the little book up, the little antlers, of course, stick out of the top. And then this page I left blank for a picture, and then added another snowflake here on the back page. And then the back is just plain. And that's the little mini toilet paper tube album. And as I said earlier, you will notice this one is shorter in length. I did trim the tubes off to use a toilet paper tube for the cover. This one has a longer one. It was a longer tube from a different brand. So this made the cover longer, and so I kept the full size. So you can adapt that for however you need. If you don't have enough toilet paper tube rolls, you can also cut, say, paper towel tubes and cut them to the length that you need. So this is a real fun, quick little project. I hope you enjoyed it, and give it a try. If you run out of time to do it for Christmas, these would make really cute little birthday themes or even Valentine's Day. So thank you for watching, and check back later. Bye-bye.